It's morning. You're getting dressed. You pull on your favorite shirt, soft, comfortable, dries fast, never wrinkles. Maybe it's athletic wear. Maybe it's that dress from Shine. Maybe it's your work clothes. You don't think about it. Why would you? It's just a shirt. But what if I told you that right now, as you're wearing that shirt, it's releasing thousands of microscopic plastic particles? And those particles are absorbing through your skin, entering your bloodstream, accumulating in your organs? Here is a number that should terrify you. Sperm counts in Western men have dropped by 59% since 1973. 59% in just 50 years. Women's fertility is declining too. More miscarriages, earlier menopause, couples in their 20s struggling to conceive like couples in their 40s used to. And here is what nobody is talking about. This decline matches perfectly, almost exactly, with the rise of synthetic clothing and plastics in our environment. In 1970, most clothing was made from natural fibers: cotton, wool, linen. Today, over 60% of all clothing globally is synthetic. Plastic? Your workout clothes? Plastic? Your fast fashion haul? Plastic? That moisture-wicking shirt? Plastic? Those performance leggings? Plastic? And it's not just correlation. The science is emerging, and it's terrifying. Studies are finding plastic particles in human blood, in lungs, in placentas. In 2021, researchers found microplastic fibers in human reproductive organs, in testes, in ovaries. The chemicals used to make these fabrics, phthalates, FAS, others with names you can't pronounce, they're endocrine disruptors. They interfere with hormones, the hormones that control reproduction. This isn't about some distant future. This isn't about environmental abstract concepts. This is about you, your fertility, your ability to have kids if you want them, your hormones, your health, your body. That comfortable polyester shirt you're wearing right now, it might be poisoning you, and it's worse than you think. Let's start with what's actually in your wardrobe, because most people have no idea what they're wearing. Polyester, nylon, acrylic, spandex, elastane. These names sound like fabrics. Technical, modern, advanced. But here's what they actually are: plastic. They're all plastic. Petroleum-based polymers. Polyester is literally PET plastic, the same plastic as water bottles spun into fibers. Nylon is another plastic polymer. Acrylic is plastic. Spandex is plastic. And these plastics now make up over 60% of all clothing produced globally. 60%. Do this right now. Go to your closet. Check your labels. Your workout clothes? Probably 100% polyester or nylon. Your jeans? Likely have elastane or spandex. That soft t-shirt? Probably a poly-cotton blend. Your athleisure wardrobe? All plastic. Fast fashion? Almost entirely plastic. Even things that feel like cotton often have plastic blended in. But here's where it gets worse. It's not just the plastic base material. These fabrics are soaked in a chemical cocktail. Phthalates, plasticizers that make the fabric flexible and soft. These are the same chemicals that made everyone panic about plastic baby bottles. And they're in your clothes. FAS, forever chemicals, used to make fabrics water-resistant, stain-resistant, wrinkle-resistant. Called forever because they never break down. Ever. They accumulate in your body. Forever. Antimony, a toxic heavy metal used as a catalyst in polyester production, classified as a possible carcinogen. It's in most polyester fabrics. BPA and BPS, yes, the same chemicals from plastic containers, found in some synthetic fabrics, especially performance wear. Flame retardants added to meet safety regulations. Ironic, because many are toxic and linked to cancer, neurological damage, and reproductive issues. Plus industrial dyes, formaldehyde-based wrinkle treatments, softeners, and a dozen other chemicals you don't even want to know about. And here's the thing, you wear these clothes directly against your skin for 16, 18, sometimes 20 hours a day. Your skin isn't a perfect barrier. It's permeable. It absorbs things. That's how nicotine patches work, how hormone creams work, how medications can be delivered through skin. And these chemicals, they absorb through your skin into your bloodstream. The heat of your body increases this. Polyester traps heat, warming your skin, opening pores. Chemical leaching accelerates. And when you sweat, it gets worse. Sweat acts as a solvent. It pulls chemicals out of the fabric and holds them against your skin, maximizing absorption. Think about this. You put on polyester workout clothes. You exercise hard. You're hot, sweating, your heart rate is up, blood flow increased. Your skin is actively absorbing chemicals from that fabric for an hour to hours. Where do those chemicals go? Your bloodstream carries them throughout your body. Your liver tries to filter them but can't break down many of these chemicals. They accumulate in fatty tissues, in organs. Recent studies have found these chemicals in human blood, urine, breast milk, and reproductive tissues. Not in some people. In most people tested. A 2022 study found microplastics in the blood of 77% of people tested. 77%. If you're watching this, there's a good chance you have plastic in your bloodstream right now. 2023 study found microplastics in human placentas. Babies are being born with plastic already in their bodies. And these don't just pass through, they accumulate year after year. Chemical burden increasing. Your grandparents didn't grow up wearing plastic. Your parents had some exposure. You've been wrapped in plastic since birth. Baby clothes, mostly polyester. Children's clothes, plastic. School uniforms, plastic. Your entire life, plastic against your skin. And nobody told you. Nobody warned you. The tags say polyester like it's just a fabric choice. They don't say petroleum-based plastic treated with endocrine-disrupting chemicals that will accumulate in your body. But that's what it is. And the effects of these chemicals on your body? We're just beginning to understand how bad it really is. Every time you wash synthetic clothes, something invisible happens. Something most people never think about. The friction of washing breaks apart synthetic fibers. Tiny, microscopic plastic particles shed from the fabric. How many particles? Studies estimate 700,000 or more microplastic fibers released in a single load of laundry. 700,000 from one load. Where do they go? Down the drain, through pipes, to water treatment plants. And here's the problem. Water treatment plants weren't designed to filter microplastics. The particles are too small. Most pass right through. So they flow into rivers, lakes, oceans, into the water system, into the environment. And then that water gets treated again and sent back to your tap. You drink it, cook with it, shower in it. Studies have found microplastics in drinking water worldwide, in 83% of tap water samples globally, in bottled water, in rainwater, in the air. They're in fish, in salt, in honey, in beer. Scientists have found microplastics in virtually every food tested. And that 2020 study I mentioned earlier, the one that found microplastics in human blood, 77% of healthy adults had detectable microplastic particles in their bloodstream. Other studies have found them in human lungs, in liver tissue, in the intestines. In 2021, researchers found microplastics in human placentas for the first time. Every placenta they examined, every single one. Babies are exposed to microplastics before they're even born. But here is what most coverage of microplastics misses. You are not just exposed through water and food. You're wearing plastic right now, against your skin, creating direct exposure. Every time you move, there's friction. Fabric rubbing against fabric, against your skin, against itself. That friction breaks down fibers. Microscopic particles rubbing off. Some stay on your skin. Some you inhale. Some absorb directly through your skin. And you sleep in this stuff. Polyester sheets, polyester pillowcases, polyester pajamas. 8 hours a night, your face pressed against polyester. Breathing, your body's temperature rising during sleep, chemicals leaching, fibers breaking off. You're breathing in synthetic fibers all night in an enclosed space where they concentrate in the air. Studies analyzing household dust find it's largely composed of synthetic fibers. You're breathing this constantly. Your couch, polyester. Your car seats, polyester. Your office chair, polyester. Carpets, mostly synthetic. You're surrounded all day, every day. And here's the critical part. These particles don't leave your body easily. They accumulate. Your body doesn't have mechanisms to break down or eliminate plastic. Why would it? Plastic didn't exist in nature until 70 years ago. We're not evolved to deal with it. And the smallest particles, nanoplastics, smaller than a cell, can cross cell membranes. They can enter individual cells. Some studies suggest they can even reach the nucleus where your DNA is. What do they do inside cells? Cause inflammation, oxidative stress, cellular damage. They disrupt normal cellular function. Your immune system recognizes them as foreign but can't eliminate them. Chronic inflammation results. But wait, it gets worse. Microplastics act like sponges for other toxins. They absorb and concentrate other pollutants from the environment. pesticides, heavy metals, industrial chemicals. They're Trojan horses, delivering a cocktail of toxins directly into your cells. So let's set it up. You're exposed through drinking water, through food, through air, and directly through wearing synthetic clothes. Multiple exposure routes, all day, every day. And all of this, the plastic particles, the chemical cocktail, the chronic exposure, it has to do something to your body, right? It does, especially to one particular system, your endocrine system. The hormones that control reproduction. Let's talk about the fertility crisis. Because it's real, it's documented, and it's getting worse. In 2017, a meta-analysis looked at 185 studies involving nearly 43,000 men. The finding, sperm counts in Western men have dropped 59% between 1973 and 2011. 59%. In less than 40 years, a 2022 update added more data. The decline hasn't stopped. It's accelerating. And it's not just count. Sperm motility, how will they swim declining? Morphology, their shape and structure declining. Every measure of sperm health is going down. At first, it was mostly Western countries. Now, the pattern is spreading globally. Anywhere plastic proliferates, sperm counts drop. Women aren't spared. Age of first menstruation dropping. Age of menopause dropping. Fertility window shrinking from both ends. Miscarriage rates increasing. Time to conception increasing. More couples struggling with infertility. 20-somethings in fertility clinics. People who should be at peak fertility needing medical intervention to conceive. And that timeline, it matches almost perfectly. The decline in fertility tracks exactly with the rise of plastics and synthetic materials in our environment. Now, correlation doesn't prove causation. But when you look at the mechanism, the biological pathway, it's not just correlation. Here's how it works. Your endocrine system, a network of glands that produce hormones. Hormones that regulate everything: growth, metabolism, mood, and reproduction. Hormones are chemical messengers. They travel through your blood, bind to specific receptors on cells, and trigger responses. Think of it like a lock and key. The hormone is the key. The receptor is the lock. Perfect fit triggers the right response. Now enter endocrine disruptors, chemicals that mimic hormones. They're shaped similarly enough that they can fit into the receptor, the lock. But they don't fit perfectly. They might block the receptor so the real hormone can't bind. Or they might trigger a response at the wrong time, wrong amount. Either way, they screw up the system. Hormonal chaos. Phthalates, those plasticizers in polyester, are notorious endocrine disruptors. They can mimic estrogen. They can block testosterone. They interfere with the hormones that control sexual development and reproduction. Study after study has shown this. 2015, men with higher urinary phthalate levels had significantly lower sperm count and motility. 2017, women with higher phthalate exposure had irregular menstrual cycles and higher rates of PCOS symptoms. 2019, prenatal phthalate exposure associated with altered genital development in male infants. 2021, microplastic fibers found in human testes and ovarian tissue, not near them, in them. 2022, direct correlation between microplastic levels in semen and reduced sperm quality. 2023, men with highest phthalate exposure had 30% lower testosterone levels than those with lowest exposure. And those forever chemicals in water-resistant fabrics associated with reduced fertility, pregnancy complications, lower birth weights, developmental issues in children. Here's something critical with endocrine disruptors. The standard toxicology principle, the dose makes the poison, doesn't apply. You think more chemical equals more harm. Linear relationship. But endocrine disruptors don't work that way. Low doses can sometimes cause more harm than higher doses because hormones work in tiny amounts. Your body responds to parts per billion, and timing matters more than dose. Exposure during critical windows in the womb during puberty can have permanent effects even at low levels. Prenatal exposure is especially dangerous. That's when reproductive systems form. When hormone levels need to be precisely right. Disrupt those hormones during that window, the effects can be irreversible. The baby develops with altered reproductive potential. Same during puberty. Another critical window, hormone-driven development. Disrupt it, and you've potentially affected fertility for life. And think about this. Today's young people have been exposed to these chemicals their entire lives. From conception, through development, through puberty. Non-stop exposure during every critical window. Your grandparents weren't exposed to this. Your parents had some exposure. You, maximum exposure during maximum vulnerability. But it gets worse. These effects can be intergenerational. Exposure doesn't just affect you. It can cause epigenetic changes, modifications to how your genes are expressed that pass to your children and grandchildren. Your mother's exposure during pregnancy with you can affect your children. 3 generations impacted by one exposure event. And look, this isn't just about fertility. These chemicals affect your entire endocrine system, thyroid function, metabolism, weight regulation, mood, development, brain function, increased cancer risk, breast, testicular, prostate, metabolic disorders, obesity, diabetes, immune dysfunction, neurological effects, behavioral changes. And guess what? All these conditions are increasing dramatically over the same time frame as plastic proliferation. And here's the really scary part. We're exposed to hundreds of these chemicals simultaneously. But safety testing? It's done on individual chemicals, one at a time, in isolation. Real world, you are exposed to phthalates and PFAS and BPA and antimony and flame retardants and pesticides and industrial pollutants, all at once. Synergistic effects. Chemicals that are safe individually might be dangerous in combination. They might amplify each other's effects. We don't know because nobody tests for that. It's too complex, too many combinations. So we're all part of an uncontrolled experiment, exposed to chemical combinations never tested. Effects unknown until they show up in population health data. And they are showing up in fertility clinics, in sperm count data, in miscarriage rates. The science is clear. These chemicals affect reproduction. They're in your clothes. You're exposed constantly. So the question is, if the science is this clear, why isn't anyone doing anything about it? Because the industry knows. They've always known. Here is what makes this even more infuriating. The textile industry has known about these risks since the 1990s. Internal documents from major manufacturers show they were aware of health concerns with synthetic fabrics and chemical treatments decades ago. And they followed the exact same playbook as tobacco companies, oil companies, and plastics manufacturers. Deny, delay, deflect. Step 1, fund your own studies. Make sure they're designed to show no conclusive evidence of harm. Use methodologies that won't detect problems. Test for acute toxicity instead of chronic exposure. Test individual chemicals instead of combinations. Test on wrong populations. And here's the thing, when you compare industry-funded studies to independent studies, they show opposite results. Studies funded by textile and chemical companies almost always conclude products are safe. Studies funded by independent sources or health agencies frequently find concerning health effects. Step 2, influence regulations. Industry lobbyists work with, sometimes literally write safety standards and regulations. Millions spent on lobbying, campaign contributions, consulting fees for former regulators. The revolving door between industry and regulatory agencies. And the regulations we have, most are based on science from the 1970s and 80s seconds. 40 plus years old. They test for acute toxicity, immediate, obvious harm. Does this chemical kill you quickly? No. Then it's safe. What they don't test, chronic low-dose exposure over years, endocrine disruption, microplastic shedding, chemical combinations effects during critical developmental windows, bioaccumulation in tissues. The approval process assumes chemicals are safe until proven dangerous. The burden of proof is backwards. It should be, prove your chemical is safe before you are allowed to put it in products that touch people's skin all day. But it's not, and there's massive geographic variation. The EU has stricter regulations than the US. Some phthalates, banned in EU products, still allowed in us. Some flame retardants, banned in EU, used freely in us. But even the EU regulations don't address the full scope. They're still not testing for microplastic generation, not evaluating combinations, not considering chronic exposure adequately, and labeling, basically useless. A label that says 100% polyester tells you almost nothing about what chemicals were used in production, what treatments were applied, what additives are in the fabric. The phthalates, not listed. PFAS, not listed. Antimony, not listed. Flame retardants, not listed. Dyes and finishing chemicals, not listed. You have more right to know what is in your food than what is in clothes you wear 16 hours a day against your skin. And now there's greenwashing, eco-friendly polyester, sustainable synthetics, made from recycled plastic bottles. Sounds great, right? Recycled plastic, saving the environment. But it's still plastic. It still sheds microplastics. And often it contains more contaminants than virgin polyester because recycled plastics can accumulate toxins from their previous uses. Fast fashion brands publish sustainability reports, talk about their commitment to safety and environment. But their business model requires producing millions of cheap garments quickly. That means cheapest materials, fastest processes, maximum chemical use. And they're in competition. If one brand pays more for safer materials, they're undercut by brands willing to use cheaper, more toxic processes. So it's a race to the bottom. Who can produce cheapest? Who can cut the most corners? Health and safety are casualties. And there's no incentive to change. Why would they? Most consumers don't know about these issues. There's no consumer pressure. Regulations are weak. Enforcement is weaker. And legal liability? Almost impossible to prove. You develop fertility problems in your 30s. Can you prove it was caused by the polyester you've been wearing for 20 years? No, could be any of 1,000 other exposures. Could be genetics. Could be lifestyle. It took decades to conclusively prove smoking causes cancer, even though it was obvious. Same pattern here. By the time we have absolute proof these synthetic fabrics are causing widespread fertility damage, millions more people will have been exposed during critical developmental windows. And that's exactly what the industry wants. Delay. Keep selling. Maximize profits before regulations force change. Meanwhile, real people suffer. Couples struggling to conceive. People with hormone disorders. Children developing reproductive abnormalities. And it's not just your clothes. Look around your home right now. I mean, really look. Your couch? Probably polyester upholstery. Your armchair? Synthetic fabric. Throw pillows? Polyester filling and covers. Your bed? Polyester mattress cover. Synthetic pillows. Polyester comforter. Microfiber sheets. Your carpet? Unless it's wool or natural fiber, it's plastic. Area rugs? Mostly synthetic. Curtains? Polyester. Blinds? Often plastic coated. Your car? The seats? Polyester or synthetic leather, which is plastic. The headliner? Polyester. Door panels? Plastic and synthetic fabrics. And cars get hot, especially in summer. Heat accelerates chemical off-gassing. You're sitting in an enclosed box of heated plastic, breathing concentrated fumes. Your workplace. Office chair? Synthetic fabric, polyurethane foam. Cubicle walls? Synthetic materials. Carpet? Synthetic, 8 hours a day. Sitting in synthetic fabrics. Breathing indoor air contaminated with off-gas chemicals. The gym, where you go to be healthy. Yoga mats, usually PVC or TPE, both plastic. Gym equipment covers, synthetic. Foam padding, plastic. And you're exercising. Heart rate up, breathing heavily, sweating, pores open, maximum chemical absorption. And then there are baby products. This one hurts. Most baby clothes are synthetic. Fleece pajamas, polyester, onesies, often poly-cotton blends. Even soft baby clothes are usually plastic. Baby toys, synthetic fabrics. Play mats, polyester. Car seats, synthetic covers. Strollers, plastic and polyester everywhere. Babies are the most vulnerable. Their skin is more permeable. Their bodies are developing. Their organ systems are forming. And relative to body weight, their exposure is massive. A baby wearing synthetic clothes all day is getting a much higher dose per kilogram of body weight than an adult. Children going through critical developmental stages, puberty, hormone-driven changes. And what are they wearing? School uniforms? Often polyester. Sports uniforms? Definitely polyester. Everyday clothes? Increasingly synthetic. Let's talk about indoor air quality, something most people never think about. Synthetic materials off gas. They release volatile organic compounds, VOCs, into the air. That new car smell? VOCs. New furniture smell? VOCs. It's not a pleasant smell. It's chemical off-gassing. You're literally smelling toxic chemicals entering your lungs. New items off-gas the most. First few weeks, months, the smell fades, but the off-gassing continues at lower levels for years. Studies show indoor air is often 2 to 5 times more polluted than outdoor air. Why? Because we've filled our homes with synthetic materials that constantly release chemicals. And modern homes are sealed tight for energy efficiency. Less air exchange. Chemicals concentrate indoors. So let's add it all up. Your total daily exposure to synthetic materials: polyester underwear, 16-hour synthetic shirt, 16 hours polyester pants or dress, 16-hour synthetic socks, 16 hours polyester jacket or sweater, variable polyester sheets, 8 hours polyester pillowcase, 8 hours direct face contact synthetic mattress cover, 8 hours living room furniture, 3-4 hours car interior, 1-2 hours office chair, 8 hours gym exposure, 1-2 hours multiple exposures, overlapping. All day, every day, you're in contact with synthetic materials essentially 24 hours a day. And this isn't just today. This is every day, for years, for decades. Your grandparents: cotton underwear, wool coats, leather shoes, cotton sheets, wood and leather furniture. Their total daily synthetic exposure: maybe an hour or two from a nylon dress or polyester tie. Your exposure: essentially constant from birth to now. And remember, these chemicals accumulate. Your body burden increases year after year. The phthalates from yesterday's shirt are still in your fat tissue. The faz from last year's waterproof jacket is still in your organs. Forever chemicals are forever. Every source adds to the total. Every exposure compounds. But here's the thing, you can change this. Not all of it, but a lot of it. Let's talk about what you can actually do, because doom and gloom without solutions is useless. Natural fibers exist: cotton, linen, wool, silk, hemp, bamboo linen, not bamboo rayon that's processed and problematic. And they work. They're not inferior. In many ways, they're better. Natural fibers breathe. They regulate temperature. Cotton keeps you cool in summer. Wool keeps you warm in winter and cool in summer. Yes, really. They manage moisture naturally. Wool can absorb 30% of its weight in moisture without feeling wet. It wicks sweat but doesn't trap it against your skin like polyester. They don't hold odors like synthetic fabrics. Polyester workout clothes smell terrible after one use. Wool, you can wear it multiple times. And when they're worn out, they biodegrade. They return to the earth. They don't sit in landfills for 200 years. Not everyone can afford to replace their entire wardrobe with organic cotton and merino wool. That's real. That's valid. But here's the thing, natural fibers last longer, much longer with proper care. That $50 cotton shirt, you'll wear it for 5 to 10 years. That $10 polyester shirt falls apart in 6 months. You'll buy 10-20 replacements over the same period. Do the math. The cotton shirt is actually cheaper per wear, but you can't replace everything at once. Nobody can. So prioritize. These are in most direct contact with skin, including your most sensitive areas, your reproductive organs. Switch these first. Cotton underwear exists. It's affordable. Cotton undershirts. Natural fiber brass. You spend 8 hours a night in these. Long exposure. Your face is pressed against your pillowcase for a third of your life. Cotton sheets. Linen pillowcases. Natural fiber pajamas. This makes a huge difference. You sweat in these. Maximum chemical absorption. Yes, performance synthetic fabrics are popular, but natural alternatives exist. Merino wool athletic wear is incredible. Regulates temperature, wicks moisture, doesn't smell. Cotton works too for many activities. They're most vulnerable. Their exposure relative to body size is highest. Protect them first. Organic cotton baby clothes. Natural fiber kids clothes. Even mainstream brands carry some natural options now. The strategy: replace synthetic items with natural as they wear out. Not all at once. Gradually. Your polyester shirt falls apart? Next one you buy, make it cotton. Sheets wearing thin? Replace with cotton or linen. And here's a secret, thrift stores are amazing for this. Older clothes from the 70s, 80 seconds, even 90 seconds were more likely to be natural fibers. Thrifting gets you natural materials at synthetic prices. Plus, older items have already off-gassed most chemicals. Still shed microplastics if synthetic, but chemical exposure is lower. Learn to read labels. Know what you're looking for. 100 cotton, 100 linen, 100 wool, 100 silk. These are clear wins. Watch out for marketing terms. Moisture wicking, performance fabric, quick dry, wrinkle resistant. These usually mean synthetic or chemically treated. Blends are tricky. 95% cotton, 5% spandex. Still has plastic, but way better than 100% polyester. If you can't afford 100% natural, even reducing synthetic content helps. 70% cotton is better than 0% cotton. Natural fibers require different care, but it's not hard. Wash less frequently. Natural fibers don't need washing after every wear. Wool especially air it out, spot clean, wash infrequently. Gentle washing, cold water, mild detergent. Air dry when possible. Natural fibers last longer with gentle care. For synthetic items you can't replace yet, use a Guppy Friend bag or washing machine filter. These catch microplastic fibers before they enter water systems. Won't eliminate your personal exposure from wearing them, but reduces environmental impact. Beyond clothes, start replacing synthetic home textiles. Natural fiber rugs, cotton or linen curtains. Eventually, furniture with natural upholstery. Prioritize your bedroom. You spend more time there than anywhere else. Making your sleep environment natural fiber reduces exposure by a third right away. And something simple, open your windows. Ventilate. Even just opening windows for 10 minutes a day helps dilute indoor chemical concentrations. Fresh air exchange. Air purifiers with HEPA filters can help too. They catch some airborne synthetic fibers. When you do buy new synthetic items, let them off gas before using. Unpack them outside or in a garage. Let them air out for a few days before bringing them into living spaces or wearing them. Wash new synthetic items multiple times before first wear. It reduces some surface chemicals. Look, you can't eliminate all exposure. You can't control everything in your environment, but you can control what touches your skin, what you sleep in, what you dress your kids in. And those changes add up. Every natural fiber item is one less source of chronic chemical exposure. Your body wants to detox. When you reduce exposure, chemical burdens decrease. Some damage is reversible. These are personal solutions, individual actions, and they matter, but let's zoom out because this is bigger than just you. So let's answer the question, is your polyester shirt making you infertile? The honest answer? It's probably contributing. Yes, not that one shirt alone, but that shirt plus all your other synthetic clothes, plus your sheets, plus your furniture, plus your car interior, plus environmental exposure. Compound it. Every piece of synthetic fabric, every day, for years, for your whole life. It's death by 1,000 cuts. Chronic, low-dose exposure from multiple sources simultaneously. The fertility crisis is real. Sperm counts down 59%. Fertility rates plummeting. Younger people struggling to conceive. The chemical exposure is real, measurable, documented. Microplastics in blood, endocrine disruptors in urine, phthalates in reproductive tissues. The connection is scientifically supported. Study after study showing correlation and mechanism. This isn't conspiracy theory. This isn't fear-mongering. This is peer-reviewed science. Documented reality. But it's also not hopeless. Changes you make matter. Your body can reduce chemical burden when exposure stops. You have natural detoxification systems. They work when you give them a chance. Some effects are reversible, especially if caught early. Hormone levels can rebalance. Sperm quality can improve. Fertility can recover. Studies show that when men reduce phthalate exposure, sperm quality improves within months. Not everything is reversible. Damage during critical developmental windows can be permanent. That's why it matters now, for you and especially for the next generation. The choices we make now affect our children, our grandchildren. Prenatal exposure, childhood exposure. These shape their lifelong health, and our choices drive markets. If consumers demand natural fibers, industry shifts. It's already starting. Sustainable brands growing. Natural fiber resurgence. People waking up to this issue. Still a small percentage. But movement starts small. Real change requires regulation, corporate accountability, safety testing that actually protects consumers. Ban the most harmful chemicals. Require full disclosure of textile treatments. Test for endocrine disruption. Evaluate chronic exposure. Hold manufacturers liable. But that won't happen without consumer pressure, without people demanding change. So your choices matter into ways they protect your health, and they send market signals. Every purchase is a vote. Plastic or natural, toxic or safe, cheap and harmful, or investment in health. You can't control everything. You can't eliminate all exposure to plastics and chemicals. They're too ubiquitous. But you can control what touches your skin for 16 hours a day, what you sleep in, what you dress your kids in. Start somewhere. One change, cotton underwear, natural fiber sheets. Whatever's doable for you. Progress over perfection. Something is better than nothing. And awareness is the first step. Now you know, you can't unknow this. Every time you shop, this information is in your head. Every time you get dressed, you'll remember. And informed choices are better than ignorant ones. Always, that polyester shirt you put on this morning, it's still just a shirt, but now you see it differently. You see the invisible chemicals, the microplastic particles, the chronic exposure, the cumulative risk, and you see the choice you have. Because next to that polyester shirt in your closet, there could be a cotton one, or linen, or wool. Future you making different choices, reducing exposure, protecting your fertility, your hormones, your health, and maybe influencing others. When people ask why you switch to natural fibers, you tell them the information spreads, the movement grows, the demand shifts, the market responds. Eventually, maybe the regulations change. And maybe fertility rates start recovering. Hormone-related diseases decline. The next generation grows up healthier, but only if we act now, starting with small choices that compound over time. So is your polyester shirt making you infertile? Contributing to it? Almost certainly. The science is clear enough. The question is, now that you know, what are you going to do about it? You can keep wearing plastic, keep sleeping in polyester, keep ignoring the mounting evidence, or you can start making changes, small ones, gradual ones, realistic ones, one natural fiber item at a time, one healthier choice at a time. Because what's at stake? Your fertility, your hormonal health, your future family. That comfortable polyester shirt might be the most expensive thing you've ever worn because the price isn't $10. It's your fertility, your health, your future. Choose wisely.